Hello, I'm Sophiralou and welcome to my channel. Hello guys and welcome to my Mossery Sketchbooks review. I picked up these sketchbooks because I have heard so many people sing up their praises about these sketchbooks and I really wanted to try them out. So I saved up a little bit of money and I ended up ordering them myself. They come from a company called Mossery, which I do recommend highly. They haven't sponsored this video, by the way. I just thought I'd do a video review of these since a few people have been asking me to. These sketchbooks are such beautiful quality that I cannot deny them. Yes, they are slightly on the more expensive side of like having sketchbooks and that, but the quality of the paper is really beautiful to use and I'm really happy with it. So the two sketchbooks I ordered a mixed media sketchbook which has 38 pages with 76 leaves total, so like sides total, and a watercolor sketchbook which had 28 pages which is 56 like slots in total. Overall I was really happy with the way that they came out. Now I chose a lighter colour and a darker colour. The lighter colour one that I chosen is my mixed media and the darker colour one that I chose was for my watercolour, so I could easily tell the difference between them. As I chose very similar designs to relate with not only my plant witch and my mushroom hunter series, I thought it'd be perfect to use these sketchbooks to build up ideas. Now they were packaged absolutely beautifully so that they weren't going to get damaged in the post, and these were sent from Malaysia and they arrived very quickly. Bear in mind I'm from the UK and they arrived within a week. I'll leave all the information for this company down below as well. So I've tried many sketchbooks over the years. I've tried a lot of sketchbooks that people have recommended for me, sketchbooks that people have sung the praises about, and I haven't really found like a proper sketchbook that I would get on with. Now this is more of an expensive side of the sketchbook, but overall I was extremely happy with the quality and they just felt beautiful in my hands, and they were just such, I could feel, yeah, it sounds really silly when you say this, but you can feel that the paper was like really good quality and everything just felt really nice to use. I did have a sketchbook that I absolutely adored called the Cachette mixed media paper, but the brand that I really liked, they discontinued and I was really sad about that and have been trying to replace it ever since, so this might end up being my replacement for that sketchbook. These sketchbooks were, I think they were £18 each, no, $18 each they were, and then shipping came to around about $6 to $10. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but I use a discount code because sometimes these guys do discount codes so you can get like 15% off, which unfortunately I don't have one to pass on to you guys, but honestly there are so many artists out there that have done reviews of these that do have discount codes that I do recommend like checking out and seeing if you could maybe get one of these for yourself. So my first thoughts when I got them was they were packaged so lovely and I didn't even want to open them. I was like, oh my god, they're too beautiful to use. I really loved how my name looked on the front of it, so you could always tell that they were mine, and I was really happy with how bright and vibrant the colours were. I mean, time will come to tell to see how they last, considering I've only ended up doing one picture in them so far, but we'll see how they go. So the first one to test was the mixed media paper. As you guys know, if you are a regular to my channel, you know I love mixed media paper. Mixed media paper is my baby. It's something I can do pretty much everything on. I can do pens, I can do pencils, and it's not going to affect it. I can do watercolors, I can do all sorts on this paper, and it is one of my all-time favourite types of paper to use. I have tried many different brands of mixed media paper and some work better than others, but overall I wanted to see how this felt. Now the thing I did notice straight away is my markers went on it beautifully. My fine liners went on really well. There wasn't any catching. The paper was really smooth, so it wasn't overly gripping stuff. It wasn't muddying up my colours, which can happen with some paper. And I did get a little bit of bleeding on the back. Now, if you want paper that isn't going to bleed, especially when it comes to markers, you need to use marker paper, or I believe some forms of Bristol board can do the same thing. don't expect a paper like mixed media to work for what you're going to do, especially if you're heavily going on top with markers. But I wanted to see how this would go through, and it didn't bleed extremely heavily, which is fantastic for me, which means that I wouldn't have to sacrifice the back of the other piece of paper. I use polychromos here, Winsor & Newton Pro markers, I use my Winsor & Newton watercolours, my white gel pen and Unipin fine liners, and it built up really nice. I wasn't getting any tearing in the paper, and overall I was really pleased with how it worked. Now this sketchbook is probably going to be for much cleaner work, and I'm going to use a cheaper sketchbook for rougher work, but overall I was really happy with this paper. It just made the piece look really nice, and like as I could show you here, it's got minimal bleed through the back of it, but that's absolutely fine. I can still work on the back of that piece of paper, it's not bled through too much, but overall like there's no speckling with the markers, which you can get when you do use like a slightly cheaper brand of paper. And overall I was really happy with this mixed media book. It just took my markers really well, and it took my products really well. Obviously if you're going to oversaturate with a marker, it is going to make it bleed through much quicker. The next one to try out was the watercolor paper. Now I'm still massively inexperienced when it comes to watercolor, so I'm not 100% on being able to do like massive reviews on like types of watercolor paper yet, and I'm still learning what works for me. At the moment I keep going between cold press and hot press paper, and I believe this one is cold press from the information that I saw on the website. I may be wrong. If anyone wants to correct me on that, you are more than welcome to. And straight away I noticed that I didn't have any problems with the way I like to do watercolors is I like to build up with pencil crayon, finalize my lines with pencil crayon, and then later afterwards build up my line work after I've done the watercolor, because I sometimes find that if you do your line work then watercolor, it looks slightly odd, so I like to do build up that way. It took on this water absolutely fine. There was no buckling, which is fantastic for me. It's really thick, really high quality paper. I didn't have any issues with it. You could probably put markers onto this if you wanted to as well, but it's not highly recommended to use markers on watercolor paper, because your markers will probably run out much quicker on using watercolor paper, because it soaks in the ink so much faster. And there wasn't really much I could say that was wrong with this. It was just really beautiful quality, really nice to use, and you could feel like, yes, as I said earlier, these sketchbooks are on the more expensive side, but overall, like, I can't fault the quality of them in any way, shape or form. You're gonna get what you pay for at the end of the day. Now, if you are, I would recommend, if you can, before going all out and saving and maybe going for one of these straight away, I always recommend with people, find a sketchbook that works for you, find a sort of paper that works for you before you go out and buy every single sketchbook that's known to mankind. I've tried sketchbooks that have worked for other artists, but when I've tried them, they really haven't been for me at all. And I think that's just because we all have different mediums that we work with. Now, do I recommend these wholeheartedly? Is it going to be for everyone? No, not at all. But like, this didn't have any trouble with my markers, it didn't have any trouble with my fine liners. It overall just felt really beautiful to use, and I just thought everything sat on top of it properly. And even because sometimes I find with watercolor paper it can tear up a little bit, with the like adding pencil crayons on top. This one didn't have any issue at all, and I think when I go and do a further review when I finish these sketchbooks, I'm going to see how it handles masking a fluid. I'm going to test like lots of different mediums in this, because I think it's always good to have a first honest review and then a review after you've actually tried the product. So my first impressions of both of these sketchbooks, I am in love with them. I really am happy that I saved up and got them myself. I think they're absolutely beautiful to use. I completely and utterly recommend them, and I think both sketchbooks came out absolutely stunning. Like, even the front of them is like this matte quality. It's just like the front of the sketchbooks feel really nice as well. We'll see how they get on with time. I'll do a further review as when I fill up the sketchbooks themselves, but I can't even look. There's not even a little bit of warping there. And I put a lot of water on this, so I was really happy with that it just didn't have any issue. So I am going to be very pleasant. I'm going to be very excited to try out these further. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Let me know if you guys would want to see any further information about these sketchbooks when I finish them. Let me know if you're excited to try these out, if you've tried them before, what your thoughts were. If you would like to try them out, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always interested. If you guys have an art supply you'd like me to try out as well, let me know in the comment section down below. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, maybe comment, and if you're new, subscribe. But as always folks, stay creative.